Yandex? This is very stretched and there's no base here. There's no setup. It's just a stretched stock, you know. At least wait for the 20-day to catch up. Minimum. This NIO is building higher lows. It undercut the 20-day, but it's building higher lows. And it looks like it wants to reclaim. It needs maybe, you know, later in the week, if it starts reclaiming that 12-20 area, then it will get above both the 20 and the 10-day. And this Fastly, man, if it can go sideways another, say, week or so, it's gonna be a 5-star setup for next week or later this week. Probably next week. This thing is just not going lower. It's building higher lows. It's one of the strongest stocks in the market right now. They just can't take it lower. Baba. Yeah, maybe for tomorrow or something. It looks great. It looks good. It looks good. It's a slower stock, but it's just surfing the 20-day. It found support, and if it can break over this low mid 250s later this week or next week, you know, it's great. It's building higher lows. It's a very strong stock. Yeah, it's a good one. Slower one though. Slow but good. Yeah, FMC, I was watching it yesterday, this trend line break in the mid 14s, but I never bought it. I thought the volume was so low. And then obviously big volume came in into the close. If I would ever consider shorting like Netflix right now, I don't see a setup on Netflix. I don't see a setup. Where's the setup? Unless there is a setup, I don't trade. And obviously the Roku stopped me out. But hey, look, the longer the base builds, it's still building higher lows, okay? Like if this thing breaks out for tomorrow, for example, I'm gonna get in. Like I got stopped out of 18,000 shares today. I fat finger sold my core also. That wasn't like the greatest thing ever. But hey, if it starts breaking out tomorrow, I'll buy 30,000 shares of this thing. I'm gonna go big. This thing looks good. It couldn't dip when the market dipped. Building higher lows, just coming out of a year-long base pretty much. I mean, it looks good. Nugget, where? There's no setups here. UAL, it's actually trying to reclaim the 50-day. It has a nice range. Like it actually look like on a weekly chart, if it breaks this 34 area or something, you know, this thing could go back to 40, 45 or something. I don't know. It looks pretty strong. Fastly, I don't know. It's building higher lows. It's, you know, I don't know. I think it needs more time to build a more of a base here. I think the 50-day needs to catch up. PDD. No, PDD is not a long setup here. It was a long setup on this day. If you're a dip buyer, when it bounced off the 50-day, it needs to go sideways a bit more and break this trend line here. There's no setup here. Yeah, PII looks interesting. Very good chart. Slower type of stock, but you know, opening range highs was the entry. It was very choppy intraday though, but yeah, APH. Yeah, exactly. APAH. APHA had a setup on the 13th of July, and then they had another setup yesterday. Yeah, you are right. But I'm not really. I don't know. It's kind of hard to buy it if only like one stock in the sector is running, right? Because when APH broke out like here and here. None of the other wheat stocks were running. Like CGC and Tilray are like kind of they weren't doing anything. Today they are breaking out, obviously, or trying to break out. Partials, well, like GBTC, I only sold 3% of my position. I think this thing could double, triple. I think it could. So I'm just selling. I'm up a little bit over 10% on it. I just sold like 3% or so, just a tiny bit. But it depends on the stock and what my target is, etc., etc. It just depends. There are no hard rules. Like if I see something have a lot of potential, I try to sell a little bit slower. And if something, I mean, if I look at something like Square that I bought yesterday, I just don't see that much potential in it. I think can it go up 20 or maybe even 30%? I mean, sure. Or let's say 15-20% realistically would be a, this thing is probably not going to double here, right? It's just not. It's already a triple, quadruple from the March lows, and like if I can get another 15-20% out of it, that's nice. So if it goes up 5%, I'll probably sell like 20% of my position or something. Same goes for a Peloton, which I bought yesterday. Like if I can get 20-25% move, hey, that's a big move. I'll be happy with it. I'm not looking for a double. But GBTC, I'm looking for a double or triple. It's just, I mean, it's a huge chart. Look at this base it's coming out of. Now, actually, don't look at GBTC. It's irrelevant. Look at Bitcoin. BTC USD, that's much more relevant. Last time it ran, mid 2019, this thing went up 240%, and now it's just coming out of a big base. Like, why can't it go up 100%, right? So that's what I'm looking for. That's why I'm selling very, 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 very slowly. PRTS. Oh, that's the one. Oh, I was actually thinking about this one a couple of days ago. I didn't remember the ticker. Yeah, guys, you gotta learn this setup. Like this was like abnormally perfect. You don't get these, like these perfect ones very often. But this is called a high tide flag. We have a big move, and then it gets tighter and tighter. And it surfs on the 20-day and eventually breaks out. It's the same pattern as, or similar pattern to T-Dog a couple of months ago. This one wasn't as, this was also pretty much perfect. To Livongo also a couple of months ago. Like you gotta learn, if you just have to trade one pattern, this is it. This is it, okay? This is it. You gotta make millions. You don't have to trade anything else. Like there are many examples of there are variations of it, obviously. Okta is also a similar one, not as long of a base. Oh, Tesla, obviously. Tesla was a perfect one when we bought it here. Big move, it gets tighter and tighter, it builds higher lows, surfs above the 20-day and then breaks out. Like PRTS was obviously, it's a micro cap name. That's why it was so perfect. Not as many eyes on it, etc. And look at this. It's now up, what? 53% from the breakout. If if you need to learn one setup, that's it. That is it. That is it. Nothing else required. You gotta be on those things. Gotta be on those things. This W looks great. This thing is up. It's almost up 1000% from the March lows. And this thing just keeps riding the 20-day. Look at this. It keeps building higher lows. And it has a flat base breakout here. It's kind of a base on a base kind of a thingy. I mean, this thing could go to 300. Spotify, oh man, these growth stock, software, internet related names, they just keep popping one by one. Like the Spotify, just riding the 20-day, had an undercut here, had an undercut here, now it reclaimed. I mean, there's so many good-looking charts out there. They're just so strong. Now, question is, are they gonna have follow through if they break out? Because these bases are not very long. But I mean, look, it's just they look powerful. They really look powerful.